All right, so welcome to 3.2. Turns out that exponents are not only positive, they can be negative and they can be zero. All right, so let's make sure we understand positive exponents. So 3/4 the first power is 3/4. 2/5 squared, and whenever you have fraction bases, you're going to need parentheses around it. This is 2/5 times 2/5. So what's that? Well, what's the rule for multiplying fractions? When you multiply the tops, 2 times 2 is 4. You multiply the bottoms, right? 5 times 5 is 25, right? Don't keep 5. That's an adding rule. So you would say, how would you say number 3? It's 1/2 cubed. And so it would be 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. What's that? Well, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. That's 1/8. 1/2 cubed is 1/8. 2/5 squared is 4/25. All right, so we're obviously going to be dealing with fractions today. All right, the reciprocal. Let's see who remembers what a reciprocal is. A reciprocal is flip the fraction over. So 5/6 is 6/5. And make sure you did not write equals, right? They are not equal. They are reciprocals. This is another name for this is multiplicative, depending on which teacher you had last year, multiplicative inverse. Right? Most teachers, though, prefer the word, and students prefer the simpler reciprocal. Flip the fraction or number over. So what's the reciprocal of 1/4? It's 4. Yes, it is 4/1, but we always simplify our fraction. So the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4. Knowing that, what's the reciprocal of 8? The reciprocal of 8 is 1/8. Notice I'm putting commas here, not equal signs. And so what's the reciprocal of 1? Well, you take 1 and flip it over. You get 1. So the reciprocal of 1 is 1. All right, so we're going to go through this pattern in this unit. 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. 5 squared is 5 times 5. 5 to the first is 5. We're going to learn what the rest of these are, okay? Yeah, that's 5 to the negative first power. And by the way, you say that as 5 to the negative second power, the one I just circled. You don't say negative squared. Logical thing to do, but we don't. And you say 5 to the negative third power here. All right, so we got to make sure we know how to multiply fractions. I showed you in the warm-up. So 3/5 squared is 3/5 times 3/5, which is what? 9/25. Now these parentheses are not optional. All right, and so let's look at the one next to it without parentheses. It's a totally different answer. Right? 3 squared is 9. This is 9/5, right? Totally different than 9/25. We're not doing that one today. We're doing the one in parentheses. So please see the difference. Those parentheses are not optional. All right, so what's 1/4 cubed? 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, not 3, 1. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4, you might want to memorize, comes up a lot this year, 64. So, right, 1/4 cubed is 1/64. All right, now let's look at these. 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1, 1/4. This is 1/4, not 1/64. This one down here, this one is more like, this one happens to be 1/64 because 4 cubed is 4 times 4 times 4, 64. All right, but when we're doing fraction exponents, just like when we had negative bases, right, you have to have parentheses around it. All right. Negative exponents turn out not to make negative numbers. All right, that's the number one thing you had to hear today. Negative exponents make reciprocals. Okay, so let's see this. So we have 3/8 to the negative first power. You're going to rewrite this power as an equivalent expression with a positive exponent. You literally just flip the number over and it's 8/3 to the first. That's all it is. They're equal. Negative exponents tell you to flip it over. So what's that? We're just rewriting it. Well, the reciprocal of 1/7 is 7, so this is equal to 7 squared. Right now, both of those are equal to 49. I didn't ask you that. I will in the homework, right? Right? Both of those are equal to 49, right? Because a negative exponent tells you to flip over the number. Weird. All right, so now we flip over 9 and get 1/9, and this is equal to 1/9 squared. Yes, which is 1/9 times 1/9. Both of those equal that. So x to the negative second power is 1 over x squared. Okay. And it turns out it's also 1 over x times 1 over x. And x times x is x squared. So notice on the last screen where we had 4 to the negative second actually equaled, right? Or 4 to the negative, I don't want to go over that. We'll come back to it. But x to the negative second equals 1 over x squared. Or 1 over x squared, say it that way. Okay, so let's evaluate these now, right? We were just rewriting them on the last screen. So we flip 1/5 over and make that positive. So now that would be the rewriting. But now we're going to evaluate. So now we're going to do 5 times 5 times 5, 125. Okay, 6 to the negative second. 1/6 squared, right? You flip over the base. That's the rewriting. And now we're going to evaluate it. So it's 1/6 times 1/6. 1 times 1 is 1. 6 times 6, 36. Yes, 6 to the, right? So let's look at this. 6 squared is 36. 6 to the negative second is the reciprocal. That's what negative exponents do. They make reciprocals, right? 1/5 cubed would have been 1/125th, but we had 1/5 to the negative third, so we got the reciprocal, 125. Negative exponents make reciprocals. All right, so this is 5/6 to the negative second, which is the same as 6/5. I said that wrong, 6/5 squared. What is 6/5 squared? 6/5 times 6/5, also known as 36/25. And as long as a fraction is simplified, you're allowed to leave it that way. Yes, that's improper, and you may have had a teacher that always made you make the mixed numbers last year, but that is not a rule. You can if you want, but not necessary. All right, and we're doing this with algebra, so y to the negative third. So we say this is y to the negative third. We do not say negative cubed. Y to the negative third, and that's 6 to the negative third. So then we have to take the reciprocal of that and do 1/6 cubed. We've rewritten it. Now it's 1/6 times 1/6 times 1/6. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 6 is 216. And so this is 1 2/16. 6 cubed is 216. 6 to the negative third is 1 over 216. It's the reciprocal. Turns out anything to the 0 power, anything, everything to the 0 power equals 1. That's what x is, right? Any number. Any number to the 0 power is 1. Okay. So I want you to do all three of these. They have 3 different answers. Everything to the 0 power is 1. 6 to the first is 6. 6 to the negative first, 1/6, right? The reciprocal. Do those 3. 12 to the 0 is 1. In fact, x to the 0 is 1. Doesn't matter what x is. 12 to the first is 12. 12 to the negative first is 1/12. Right? That's how it works. All right, so do the same thing with fractions. Everything to the 0 power is 1. 2/9 to the first, 2/9. 2/9 to the negative first, 9/2. And you're allowed to leave it that way. You don't have to make it a mixed number. All right, do this for x equals 2. So this is 2/4. So there's no negative. Don't flip it over. That's plain old positive exponent. 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So that is 16. So this answer better be 1/16, the reciprocal, right? Because it's the same problem. But let's do it out the long way. 2 to the negative, right? So you could do 1/2, right, to the 4th. And 1/2 to the 4th, 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. But you're allowed to use this shortcut. If you know that 2 to the 4th is 16, as soon as you see 2 to the negative 4th, you just write the reciprocal answer. Yeah, loud. So let's do both of those. So this one is 3/7 times 3/7. This one is 7/3 squared, or 7/3 times 7/3. Now that's rewriting, but evaluate. 3 times 3, 9. 7 times 7, 49. 9/49. This one better be the reciprocal of that, 49/9. All right, so practice. You're going to do all these without my help, and then check your work. So rewrite with a positive exponent. It has to be this. You're not going to just go x to the 4th. That's not equal to that. What's equal to that is 1 over x to the 4th. 6 to the negative 2nd is 1/6 squared. All right. This is, all right, so now we're evaluating. It's 1/13 to the 1st. You can skip that step. It's 1/13. Right, because 13 to the 1st would be 13. Right? 10 cubed is 10 times 10 times 10, or 1,000. So what's this one? It's 1 over 10 times 1 over 10 times 1 over 10, also known as 1/1000ths. This is 12 to the 1st, 12. This is 5/11 squared, also known as 5/11 times 5/11. 25 121st. 11 times 11 is 121. Y is 9 here, so 9 to the negative 3rd, same as 1/9 cubed. 1/9 times 1/9 times 1/9. 9 times 9 is 81, and 81 times 9 turns out to be 729. So this is 1 over 729. Everything to the 0th power equals 1. All right, so what does that equal? It doesn't even matter what x is, it's 1.